6. Restore Black spirituality. Call on God for help. It is no secret that Black people are some of the most spiritual people in the world. If you look at a Black church service and compare it to any other worship service, you will see the level of enthusiasm for a higher power that no one else can match. Thinking back to the issues I spoke about in the Black economic section, the poverty in the Black community condemns our spiritual growth. Many of us are stuck in bad economic conditions and are in bad environments that cause us to focus only on self preservation and immediate need. This turns into crime and eventually creates a hatred that is reflected onto our own people. With a lack of Black business and opportunity, many of us are stuck working low paying jobs just to survive. While we all must do what we have to do to endure, we must also understand that as long as you are just working and not fulfilling a purpose, regardless of how big your salary is, you will forever be spiritually unemployed. While many of the folks in the Black community are super religious or considered as holy rollers, there still seems to be a lack of manifestation in our belief of our higher power as our source of all things. Let's take a look at why this is, and this will go for all religions. For the sake of this book, I am not going to mention a particular religion, as Black people belong to many religions, such as Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, along with many other religions. Creativity is the God within us. Creative energy is really godly or spiritual energy. The ability to take something that doesn't exist and bring it into existence is a godly mechanism within all of us. As a matter of fact, I really think sexual energy is just creative energy. The ability to create new life is a godly function. Nevertheless, this energy gets misused, and this is one of the reasons why I think many men cannot get over the chase when it comes to women. The chase is the thrill of fantasizing or envisioning something and then making it come to pass. This same energy can be used to make $1 million or create $1 million company, first in your mind, then in reality. When thinking on a lower level of consciousness or with a more primitive or animalistic mind, this creative energy is usually only manifested as sexual energy. However, when operating on a higher level of consciousness, the sky is the limit as to what your mind can create and manifest. Just look at all the wonderful Black inventors who created such things like the air conditioner, the toaster oven, peanut butter, and so on. The point I'm trying to make is that by elevating your consciousness, you can harness the godly and creative power that lies within each of you. Materialization, the highest form of spirituality. I do believe that materialization is the highest form of spirituality. We must materialize the things that we dream and pray about. The real reason why the youth would rather go to a hip hop concert than go to church or any religious place of worship is because they at least see materialization in the people they are following. Many in the church community refer to hip hop as the devil's music. But if rappers are supposedly doing the devil's work and they are prospering, and you are supposedly doing God's work and are not prospering, then you are sending the message to our youth that the devil treats his people better than God does. Without a manifestation of prosperity from the spiritual community, you will never win the respect of the younger generation, and therefore, they will forever be lost to the wicked ways of the world. Material condemnation versus financial freedom. We all have dreams of material possessions, whether it be a dream car, a dream house, nice clothes, or something as simple as a lot of money so that we can do what we want. This is especially true for those who were born into a situation where they didn't grow up with money. The desire to acquire eventually becomes the driver in your everyday decisions. This does not have to be from the greed of trying to have everything you want. It can be true even if you are simply trying to survive. If the majority of your waking hours are spent doing things just to pay off the next set of weekly or monthly bills, it is hard to have enough time to dwell on things of a higher consciousness, let alone have the time to actually take action on these things. If all of your time is spent working a job to survive, selling drugs, stripping, or just plain old hustling to make a way for yourself and your family, you will always be in survival mode, which is the lowest level of consciousness. If you lived a lifestyle where all of your basic needs are taken care of without you having to slave away all your time to do so. You can now afford to focus your time on your spiritual gifts. This is why financial freedom is key to spiritual freedom. If you have a chance to obtain and experience those material possessions, then you can let it go. If you never have those experiences, then you will always be stuck in the position of trying to acquire those material things, and this will condemn you to those desires. The more you acquire, the more you can afford to let it go. The reason why a large part of the African American community has not progressed spiritually and is still in an era of killing and robbing each other is because we, as a people, have been stuck in a mode of survival. We naturally do whatever it takes to survive and acquire material possessions. This is condemning us to survival mode as a whole and therefore never completely opening the door to a higher consciousness and true spirituality. Economic freedom and spiritual freedom are linked together. The New Year's Eve church experience. The three-step formula that I am about to outline in this book came to me one year during a New Year's Eve church service. As the pastor was preaching a good but typical sermon about how all the troubles of the past year are gone and that we are now moving into a new year where we finally reap our blessings. As everyone around me was shouting and dancing and celebrating what was to come, I sat there quietly in my seat looking at the people questioning why things weren't changing in my life or in theirs since we do this same song and dance literally every year. Then it hit me like a ton of bricks. On one end of the spectrum, you have the super holy people who love to shout and praise, yet are usually the worst off. They pray about everything as if it was only going to happen by some miracle, but they never create any real plans and therefore never act on anything. This leaves them stuck in the same position. In other words, they're so spiritual that they are no longer practical. On the other end, you get the people who come to church and believe something will happen, so they make plans. These people never take any action. Instead, they are always waiting for the right opportunity, but are often paralyzed in fear. They never prayed before they planned, so their plans aren't always divinely inspired. Then you have the people who are very action oriented, but want everything so fast that they never pray or plan. That was me at one point. In other words, they are so practical that they are no longer spiritual about it. You never want to just pray without planning. You never want to plan without taking action. And you never want to take action without praying. In other words, you must pray, plan, and move in order to truly harness God's power in your life. Pray, plan, and move. God's three-step formula for success. Pray. Prayer allows you to focus your thoughts and energy on the matter at hand and to communicate the changes that you would like to see yourself and to your Creator. For some less religious people, prayer may be synonymous with meditation, which is a state of deep internal thought that allows you to quiet yourself long enough to hear what is being said to you spiritually. If the only time you think about your life goals is when you pray or meditate, and you do nothing else about it, you will not yield results. You still must have a plan. Plan. Praying and planning are not meant to be used on an individual basis in order to get the job done. Your plan must consist of daily action steps along with the big picture. Planning gives you an actual roadmap for achieving your goals. As long as you pray or meditate before you plan, your goals will be divinely inspired. Your plan creates a bridge from where you are now to where you want to be. The ticket to success in your business, your family, your health, and your life starts with planning. Move. Once you have prayed about your needs, goals, and have a creative plan, you must act immediately, whether you are completely ready or not. In most cases, you will not have all the answers right away, but as soon as you begin to move, things will be revealed to you along the way, and you will be able to fill in the blanks. But this will never happen if you don't take action. You may feel that certain things are holding you back from moving forward in your life, whether it is lack of finances, lack of knowledge or skill, or even lack of relationships. But once you get started with what you have, you will figure out a way to gather the rest. Regardless of what God you serve, there's a big difference between believing in God and trusting in God. When you trust in Him, you understand that when you pray, plan, and move, all things work together for the greater good. Trade your life for something. What this all boils down to is that one day we will all meet the same fate. And whatever you did with your life is essentially what you traded your life for. So you can either trade your life for something big or something small, but you will trade your life for something. So why not trade it for something big? Life is a game, and eventually it will come to an end for each of us. So while we are playing, we might as well play to win and play to win big. The Restore Black Spirituality Action Plan, Community Action Plan. Step 1. Raise the consciousness of the entire Black community to a state of spiritual discernment and awareness. Step 2. Create more financial freedom and independence in the African American community in order to free the people from the day-to-day drudgery of struggling, making ends meet, trying to survive, or just plain old making a living. Remove the distractions that block Black people from achieving a higher spiritual consciousness. Personal Action Plan. Step 1. Find the time to pray, plan, meditate, and focus on your life and what you are doing with it. Step 2. Put together a strategic life plan for all areas of your life, including an economic plan, a health plan, a family plan, etc. Step 3. Take action on whatever God has called you to do in life. Believing in God is one thing, but when you take action, you are trusting God to do something big in your life. Step 4. Become economically empowered and financially free so that you can experience material success and not be condemned by it. The more you experience, the more you can let it go. You cannot truly experience spiritual freedom unless you achieve economic freedom.